Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, April 30th. I do appreciate the fact that you are once again tuning in. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much. And if you had received this from somebody and you enjoy it, share it with somebody. If you're a subscriber, you enjoy the content, share it with somebody. As a recount, I'm trying to continue a conversation that I think is very important. I think critical thinking is very important. And I'm thankful that at the University of Michigan Flint, when I attended there, I had professors that encouraged me on how to think, not what to think. I also am thankful, and Dr. Gerald Williams, my Psychology 267 developmental psychology teacher, a great credit to him. Shout out to him. I also think that my experience even in high school, Lakeville Memorial High School, Lakeville Community High School, from kindergarten to the 12th grade, I had teachers that cared about me, and not what to think, but how to think, how to problem solve. I really think that it's a fantastic experience that I've had. And so I want to encourage all of us to think critically about things. And that's really the purpose of what I'm trying to do here. Do I think I'm onto something? Do I think I'm connecting some dots? Certainly I do. And sometimes I get really, really passionate about it. But I could be wrong. And it's very important that I have discussions that are not in an echo chamber, that are with people that would say, whoa, 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 I'm going to throw the bullshit flag on that one. I don't think you're right on that one. I appreciate people on my team. Andrew Lay and I can get into an hour-long conversation, and it seems like 5 minutes, because we really challenge each other in a lot of ways. And the dynamics of what's going on for people that are willing to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe that's not quite right. And we've really found that in the situation with this pandemic. And it's crazy to think that if everybody in mainstream media is telling us that this is what we need to do, this is how we need to act, this is what the facts are, and then a week goes by and we realize, well, wait a minute, those facts weren't actually facts, they were actually speculation. And we believed you because you are an expert. And when I was a kid, I don't know if it happened to you, but my mother used to say, well, they say, and I don't know if you ever did this, but I asked one day, Mom, who are they? And she laughed and said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you keep saying, well, they say you need to wear your hat outside, or they say. She'd say, well, they are them. They're the experts. And I'm not suggesting that everybody is evil. You've heard me say this before. There is good and bad. There is no one that is all good, and there is no one that is all bad that I'm aware of. And so I think it's important for us to have these conversations. I want to give a shout out to Bob Martin. I know he's through the Review magazine. I encourage you to check out the Review magazine. And here is a gentleman that has simply expressed a critical thinking aspect of anything, and he is being wrongfully attacked by so-called friends. And just for asking a question, just for stepping out and saying, is this really true? Is this possible? So what I want to encourage all of us to do is to engage in platforms such as this that would say, yeah, let me let's engage in a conversation. Let's talk about it. The challenge for me also is to suggest that I have a lack of empathy, as well as that I may appear to be condescending. Nowhere near to the extent that academia wants to be condescending to me or anybody else that does not think their way. But I still at least am cognizant of the fact that I feel like sometimes I say things in a matter-of-factly manner, and I need to preface more often. I believe. I've done a whole podcast on I believe. But if I don't say it every time, so I wanted to take a time out today, maybe a deep breath too, and mention, kind of recap why I'm doing what I'm doing, and hopefully we can get to a better place together. I'm seeking the truth. And the truth may be very difficult to handle sometimes. I've asked this question often, and I'll continue to ask it. Am I willing to admit that I was wrong? And I mean about big stuff here. And I still don't know the answer. And the reason why I don't know the answer on something really big is vaccines. And I was challenged to do some research about vaccines, about the science. I take a deep breath because there's a lot of contradicting data out there. And our children have all had a vaccination schedule that's much greater than the vaccination schedule I had. And the vaccination schedule that came before me. And I still ask the same question. If these vaccines are truly, and this is just a question, if these vaccines are truly necessary, if they truly are safe, and they truly do save more lives than without them, then how is it that entire areas, cultural pockets of people, religious beliefs that separate them from others, and I'll use the Amish as an example, how is it that they're alive? I think that if we really look at, again, correlation and causation. So there's two different things there. I get it. Oh, and I wanted to point out one other thing too. I do understand the case fatality rate and the infectious fatality rate. And I do understand that when people are talking about those things, I've said it before, the virus is very, very, you need to respect it. It's a very nasty virus. We need to respect it. We do not need to fear it. And we do not need to give up our liberties and our freedoms. But back to the vaccines. If there's a situation where we look at a number of these vaccines and how through prosperity and in the 20th century, the things that were a part of prosperity, not air conditioning, okay? We're talking about quality plumbing, right? So septic issues. We're talking about inside lighting, electricity, so that you can see that things are dirty. We're talking about overall hygiene that is improved, not fluoride. We're talking about the food sources that for a period of time before a lot of the GMOs was improving. We're talking about the water sources were improving prior to fluoride being added. And so you have a situation where prosperity in first world countries, where prosperity was on the rise, and really in conjunction with industrialization and a lot of things that happened in the early 20th century, we see, because viruses have always been here, and we see viruses, the mortality rate from viruses drastically reduce even prior to the vaccination schedule that even I was given. And so I'm not saying vaccines are all wrong, and I'm not saying vaccines are safe. I'm not saying that they're not safe. I'm asking questions. What if originally our vaccines were given to us and told that they were safe, told that they were double-blind, placebo, peer-reviewed, studied, did not contain harmful levels of toxins, did not contain aborted baby tissue, did not contain... I'm just asking the question. If they lied about all those things, if they did, but then went back after a period of time and then performed 1 or 2 or 20 peer-reviewed, double-blinded placebo studies. What if? Because when I look at these things and I start doing this research, and I'm not going to bore you with the 3 pages of notes that I took. I'm not going to bore you on one episode, my goodness. But I'm just asking questions. What if we were lied to at any given time? Because I'm really in pursuit of the truth. And trust in our institutions and the people in authority is essential for civilization. Civilization is built on that trust. And if you'll lie to me or us about, no, we did not double-blind, placebo, peer-review study this, but it's safer than whatever, safer than getting the virus. Wouldn't that be enough? Because if you did that, there'd probably still be a lot of people take it. We don't really even ask anymore what's in the flu shot. And yet you encourage people to get the flu shot every year. And again, going back to the numbers and about whether or not we're being lied to, that's my real question. This year, the flu, and this is according to Dr. Fauci and the CDC, the flu was going to kill a lot of people in the United States. And then once this pandemic hit our shores, the flu stopped killing people and just COVID-19 did. I think we need to ask more questions. And I don't think that we should shame somebody like myself. I don't think that I should be censored, silenced for asking questions so that we can have a conversation. Today in Michigan, the executive order is supposed to expire. The governor, in her attempt to hold on to all the power, and I really believe that I can only infer that that's what the real effort is about. So again, my apologies for being condescending there or a lack of empathy. It appears to me, in an attempt to hold on to all the power, her executive order, she has also written, and again, because she's eliminated the Freedom of Information Act, so we have to go on some of what we do, the little bit we get trickled out of the legislation. And almost like a catch-22 for the legislative body to say, nope, that's it. You don't get to extend this to May 15th. Or nope, that's it. Because the way the executive orders have been written, okay, if you're gonna go back to, if this is no longer a state of emergency and this executive order is no longer in place, then everybody that didn't file their taxes, you're now delinquent and we've been charging you interest. Does that sound fair? Doesn't sound fair to me. I still think that probably the vast majority of people probably already did. So we're talking about probably the minority, but still, I care about people. So I would still want to see at least, okay, do you want to be delinquent on your taxes and have this executive order lifted? Or should we try to do something else over the next couple of days to see how this works out? I think regardless of what is decided by our legislators and the governor and the attorney general and any judge that would say, yes, it's fine, it's not overreaching, it's not unconstitutional. Let's appeal that decision. I think the best thing we can do is keep score, pay attention to how our legislators are handling this, how they're voting. Again, it's going to be difficult without the freedom of information. But let's do our best. Let's really become engaged and let's really hold people accountable. We have an amazingly difficult time ahead of us. This virus is really going to be looked back on and say, that was nothing. The economic pain and suffering that we are on the precipice of experiencing is far greater than the elevated loss of life due to this virus, elevated above what the year in and year out virus that we deal with on a regular basis. So I'm hoping that we can have some context as to why we'd allow things to happen, why we would be giving up our liberties and our freedoms, why we would be okay with it. Because I'm not okay with it. I do appreciate the fact that there are tens of thousands, probably millions, of Michiganders just like me. We need to take back our state, folks. Of the people, by the people, for the people. And we need to do it through a peaceful process, a peaceful revolution through the voting process. We're going to keep talking. I appreciate you. If you enjoy the message that I'm trying to bring, please share it with somebody else. I'm James Detroit, and I'm out.